They say that the closer a woman gets to 30, the more she begins to desire marriage.
They said the older you get, the more you start thinking about getting married, having children. Is this true? Is this true? Is this claim true that once you clock that 30 and above, all you're going to be thinking about is, I want to get married. I want to have children. I want to start a family. I want to be responsible for something. I just want to, be married to somebody or be Mrs. Somebody. Is that true? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section because that's the conversation we are having in today's video. For me, I don't think it's true. I feel like less women actually desire marriage from 30. I feel like when you're in your 20s, like 26, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, you want to get married, you feel like that is what you're supposed to do because you're like looking at, oh, I'm going to be 30, I'm going to be 30. But once you clock that 30, 35, you're like, okay, once you figure out life already, I don't think that desire is going to be there like that. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I have a few videos to share with you. Let's watch the videos together, then we'll come back and discuss.
They say that the closer a woman gets to 30, the more she begins to desire marriage and children. And hey, as a 29-year-old, I got to say that I, for one, am experiencing the complete opposite. I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know about that, babes. First of all, let's talk about the kids. Why isn't there a trial period for children? Why can't I birth my kid and do a 90-day, 3-month trial run to see if I like it or not? And then when I don't like it, I return to sender. Why is it just so all or nothing? I mean, damn. That's a lot. And then on top of that, once you have the kid just in your house every day. You might get a weekend off from me, ma, and papa, but they back in your house that Sunday night. Every day until they're 18 at least. I don't even like figuring out what I want to eat every day. Now I gotta think about you. I don't know about that, y'all. Oh my goodness. It's just such a 0 to 1,000. We can go 0 to 50 first and then work our way up. Good God. Then the whole marriage thing, a lot of my coworkers are married and have kids or you know what I mean? I cannot imagine clocking out of my job to go home and do another job. Or 2 jobs as a mother and a wife. Oh. I be tired after work. Y'all mean to tell me you have to get off work and go be someone's mother? Go be someone's wife and communicate and work a household? Hey. At 29, almost 30, listen, I don't know about all of that. I don't know.
There are many reasons why I believe the older you get, the more you get. I know people make you feel like you have to hurry up and choose a mate when you're younger because you'll get more. But in your 20s, who really has it? Okay, no one really has it together. So you're more likely to enter into a marriage if you do get married in your 20s that isn't necessarily financially stable. You're both trying to figure things out. You may contribute towards the bills. You may be in school. He may be in school. No one really has it. And if a man actually had it, a man in his 20s who comes from money, let's say, he's really insulated. The women and the family in his life really protect the women who have access to him. So if you were to marry into that kind of world in your 20s, you'd have to overcome a few barriers and you're going to have family approval. Versus when you're older, you're on more stable footing and the man should be as well. So we're getting into our mid 30s, into our 40s, everyone's more on stable footing. A lot of those men who were married in their 20s, or women even who married in their 20s, where the family was really involved and you kind of had to pass the family test, they might be divorced now. They're not really looking for mom or dad to approve what's going on. They're more independent and can choose. I'm my husband's second wife. He had been married previously. He was divorced when I met him. And in choosing a divorcee, I literally didn't have to do the whole family test that we did in our 20s. I didn't have to impress the mothers and the aunties and everyone else and hope they said yes. And because they're paying for our wedding, I have to do what they say. This was very, very different because it's two adults getting together. And I feel like I had access to a pool of men in my late 30s that I never would have had access to in my 20s just because the way things are. So the more you grow, the more you know, the more you mature, the more you level up, the more on stable footing you are, you're going to have access to a world that you never would have had access to in your 20s. Thereby, you can literally get a better match for yourself than you would have. So if you find yourself over 30, over 40, over 50 single, I am telling you not to listen to the naysayers. They are lying to you. You would have sold yourself short in your 20s like many of us did, and you may not have had the access. So I do feel like your age, your wisdom, your charm, your poise, your eloquence, all of the life experience that you have amassed have led you to a point where you're going to get a way better match than 20-something-year-old you would have chosen. Okay? So chin up. Don't worry. You got this.
I told my boyfriend on our second date that I am never getting married. I personally do not need it. I have no desire for it. I'm not religious, and in fact, I'm like anti-theist. I don't really believe in religion as a concept. I don't need God to recognize our union, and I don't need my dad to pass me off to another man. The 2 times that I have been proposed to, it felt like I was looking down the barrel of a gun. And the big indicator to me that I made the correct choice in never getting married was that when my last relationship, which was 12 years long, when it blew up, I just walked away, got an apartment, moved out, done. We did own a house together. He's paying off my part of the equity monthly. But other than that, no assets to divide, no lawyer fees, no having to go to court. I can't tell you how happy I am that I met someone who also does not want to get married. I was telling him yesterday that I do appreciate like the romantic element of getting married. Like I think that's very nice, but I just can't really get behind the legal ties. He is in exactly the same boat. He's like, I would love to have like a ceremony someday where we just like acknowledge our relationship and our love in front of friends and family, but he's like, the legal shit, not about it. So I'm very happy that it seems like I found the right fit for me.
I am sick and tired of grown-ass women on the internet saying that they're childless. I don't understand. No one cares. Like, no one cares. And it's like grown women, like in their 30s and 40s. Why are you saying you're childless? Are you trying to say you're better than mothers? Like, what are you trying to say? I don't understand. Like, they're saying it. You know what? Oh my God, I just realised. They're saying it because they're advertising to the male species. That's what it is. My bad. Sorry, guys. I'm going to be quiet about the situation now because, yeah, that makes sense.
Did you know that being childless and husbandless is actually one of the most powerful things you can be as a woman? Yeah. And I'll say that again because I know it's going to ruffle some feathers. But the feathers need to be ruffled because for all the young women out there, myself included, who felt or have felt or are feeling like they are behind in life because they do not have a husband, they do not have children, did it ever occur to you, my love, that maybe there are better and bigger things that God is trying to do in your life right now? And maybe he wants you to focus on your relationship with him. That's the man you need to invest into God. Because it's not like I don't ever want a husband and kid. Maybe one day. I was always the woman, I'm telling you, my whole life dream and goal centered around a husband and marriage and children. And, you know, God put it on my heart at the beginning of this year that maybe God has bigger and better for me waiting. And I don't need the husband and children to get that. Maybe I can do that all by myself with God's help. Men are great, you know, like if you find one that treats you well and makes life better, by all means, babe. And if you are married and if you do have children, I hope that you are living in your blessing, in the blessing that you have prayed for, because that's all we ever want. But I am just trying to encourage the young woman watching this video that has just dreamt and hoped and prayed as a little girl until she grew up to have this husband and kids. And babe, there is so much more in life to that. I promise you. I promise you. And if it's meant to be, it's going to be. Okay? So just chill out. But there's a reason why the rich auntie that has no kids is happy, stress-free, and living her best life. Right, because she has no kids.
I am in my late 30s and I am now getting married. And on top of that, my fiance is Swedish, so I have moved to Sweden. And let me tell you, I would not have it any other way. Not at all. I was not ready to get married in my 20s. No way. I wish I could go back in time, talk to my 20-year-old version of myself, and smack her around. What I've done that I'm so happy I did, and what I think many more women are doing now as they take their time for marriage, is I took the time to get a sense of self, to discover my sense of self, to really embody my authenticity, to truly walk down the street, be at work, show up in friendships with my true sense of self shining through. And that to me is what ultimately led me to even meeting my fiance, who is my mirror. Your relationships are your mirror. If you're exercising that way of being, you will find people who are also doing the same. That's life. Look at your relationships, they're a giant mirror. But I want to say this because I think a lot of women look at marriage, especially if you're a little bit younger, as the end-all be-all. Like, if I get married, my life will just automatically be better. Like, think of marriage as a new board game, right? Or a new section of the board game. You know that game Life, where you start off with like one person in your car, and the next thing you know, you get married and you have kids, all whatever that game is. But essentially, you're now stepping into either a whole new board game or a different area you've never been in. But to win the game, which to me is just being able to navigate your life in the highest way for your highest good, you're going to need to know who the hell you are. You're going to need to have a great sense of self. And when you do that, innately, the people that you're with, especially if you're in healthy relationships, it's going to enable them, your partner, your future husband, to show up the best way they can. It's just like this contagious effect of authenticity. It's a safeness, it's a vulnerability. So it will have its challenges, of course, but we have to start treating this as self, a sense of self being a prerequisite to these higher milestones of relationships, such as marriage, because it's not the end-all be-all. It is just the beginning.
The older you get, the more you start desiring marriage and having kids. I feel like that is false information, because the older you get, looking at the old statistics now, the older you get, the more you want to run away from that kind of commitments, because now you've already seen that all these things is not just what they claim it is, right? And I feel like it's when you're in your early 20s or middle 20s, that is when you desire things like that. And that's why you see a lot of women get married in their 20s, right? If you've passed the age of 30, 35, 36, like going to 40, by then you're already using your head to get married. But once you're in your 20s, you don't really date so many guys like that. So the ones that are around and are available and claiming that they love you, those are the ones that you want to just fall into the trap and marry. But once you're in your 30s, late 30s, early 40s, and all of that, you already have so many guys that you've been with. You've seen the worst, the ugly, the good, the bad. So you know. In fact, you might even decide not to date anymore because they're all wasting your time. They're taking your money, your time, your energy, right? And you just decide, you know what? I just want to I don't have strength to go into that dating app or whatever they call it. So the older you get, because you have so many experience, you're like, I don't even want to stress my peace at this moment. I don't think it's possible. It's okay for me to finish work and come back home and their children. Or sometimes you see some people make video and be like, with this kind of economy and the way the world is going, I cannot imagine going home and I have to still be a mom to mom of 3 or 2 or 1. Like, it is exhausting. And you see them saying, I cannot even be a wife at this moment because I just want to get home and sleep. I don't even want anybody to be beside me. I just want to stay alone and enjoy my peace. These are the things that people that have seen life and, stayed alone. Most of them have stayed alone and they have a lot of experience and they've seen peace of mind. You see that they don't desire marriage at all. And that's why if you're in your early 20s, it feels like that is what is in vogue. That's why you see a lot of 20s. When you're in 20s, your friends, everybody's getting married, everybody's having children. It's like it's the norm because everybody's trying to run a race to be able to have that kid before they get to 30 so that they can say, oh, I have all my kids in 30s. Before I got to 30, I already had all my kids. I already did all of that before 30 so I can enjoy myself. Because the way they paint it is like, do whatever you want to do before you get to the age of 30. Because once you get to the age of 30, as a woman, your biological clock has dropped or something and you're now invisible. Nobody's going to see you. So don't use any guy to do shakara. Don't even tell any guy you're not interested. So when you find a man that wants to marry you, accept it. So that because when you get to your 30s, nobody's going to come and meet you to marry you. So that fear and that's like, oh, what's going to happen when I'm 30? I'm going to grow very old. Women in their 20s get married. What's the perfect age to get married? Do you think it's better to get married in your 20s or later on in your 30s? Let me know that in the comment section. I personally feel like it's better for you to get married in your 30s because I feel like once you're in your 30s, you should have sense. I think you should have sense. Like, you should be wiser than your 20s. So by then you'll be able to make better decisions. I feel like in your 20s, you're just like following the trend. You're just in a hurry. You're just thinking and you're just jumping into things that you're not sure what you're going to do. But when you're in your 30s, you already understand what life is at a point. You should, right? Understand what life is at a point. You should be able to know right from wrong. I'm not saying in your 20s you won't know right from wrong. You should, of course. But I feel like the older you get, the more you start understanding life and knowing that, okay, this is what I want for myself. I feel like in your 20s, you might not really know what you want. You might just be following trend and following what your friends are doing or just following what the pattern is. You might not have discovered yourself at that point. But if you hold on a bit, probably to your 30s, your late 30s, sometimes 40s, right? You might already have discovered yourself, know the kind of man you want, know the things you can take and the things you cannot take. And even if the marriage doesn't work out, you can easily leave. It's not something that you have to be stuck inside for a long time. You see women that are married in their early 20s, and though the marriage is not working out for them, they're still stuck inside because they cannot just leave. And they're like, okay, what am I going to do now that I'm in my 30s? What am I going to do? Because they don't even know where to start from. They felt like the whole marriage is going to be like their normal life, the whole being a mom is going to be like their identity. So they don't even know what to do without that identity. So that's why most women are stuck inside that relationship because they don't know what to do. So if you take your time and marry late, I feel like it's better. And by then you already know what you're doing. But even if you marry late and you don't know what you're doing, you're still going to be like a woman that married in her 20s. So I just feel like at the end of the day, it's not actually age, actually. I feel like it's maturity, you guys. What's your take on the video? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Respectfully, as always, your girl Maria Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.